Hey guys, Pat Quinney here with Level 6, and we're back for another Liquid Lunch. It's episode 7, I believe. We're recording in our wonderful van. As always, supported by Whitewater Brewery. And today I have a very special guest, Tino Specht. Is that how we pronounce your last name?
Yeah.
I should never know that.
Specht.
Specht. Okay, perfect. So Tino, a longtime friend of mine. We've known each other for almost a decade now.
Yeah.
And Tino's an all-around badass. He's been one of our longest standing ambassadors and athletes. I believe 12 years.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more. And he's an overall, adventurer with a specialty in whitewater, but definitely not limited to that. So we're gonna get to know Tino a little bit today, and just try and shoot the shit for a little while, and catch up. So, how you doing, man?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
No worries, dude. So we're here for a wedding.
Yeah.
Joel's wedding.
Joel Kowalski.
Yeah, good friend of ours.
Tying the knot.
Yeah.
I'm excited for him.
I'm super excited for him, and excited to see everyone. It's rare to get all the pieces back into one spot, especially after everyone kind of dissipates and goes to find their own way in life.
For sure.
And speaking of finding your own way in life, you lived in Chile for a long time.
Yeah.
This is the first time you've been back in the States for a long period of time, right?
Yeah, I've been living in Chile for the past 10 years.
Yep.
Running a media company and a guiding business.
Okay.
And had a base down there and decided to come make a base in North America because I like it here too.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's nice to be near family and reconnect with all friends, the community, all that.
So feel free to plug your media company. What's the media company called?
Nomad Media.
Okay.
We do basically all outdoor sports.
Yeah.
Cinematography and some photography.
Awesome.
But we've been working on TV shows and some commercial stuff. So a lot of times, like if you're going through an airport and you see a promotion for Chile, that will be made by us.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
That's wicked. And you mainly focus in adventure,
Yeah.
filming and media.
Yeah, it's all outdoor sports.
Yeah.
So from hiking to rock climbing to whitewater kayaking or paragliding, we'll film that stuff. But once it gets to like corporate sort of filming, we don't do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So you got your start. You're from Massachusetts.
Yeah, I'm from Charlemont, Massachusetts.
Charlemont. Yep.
Yeah, I got if you want a quick history.
Well, give us the history. Tell us how you got into kayaking, and
Sure.
and how growing up in Charlemont, Massachusetts, got you to where you are today. And
Sure. Yeah. I'm from Charlemont, Massachusetts. It's a town of 1,000, but it's also sort of the Northeast's best kept secret because it's got so many great outdoor sports you can do just right in town. And the really, the whitewater's good, the biking is world class, the skiing is great for the East.
Yep.
So it was just this adventure town that I got to grow up in out of, sheer luck. And I was pretty bad at school.
Okay.
When I was growing up. I just couldn't focus,
Yeah.
But my mom realized that, and she was sort of looking for somewhere for me to put my energy. And we knew the owner of Zor Outdoor, and he, offered.
Is it Dave? Is that his name?
No, this is Bruce Lessels.
Bruce. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. And he, gifted me some kayak classes.
Awesome.
And I think I mentioned this to you before, but it was the biggest gift of my life.
Yeah, that's a life-changing, moment for a young individual. Paddle sports in general is.
Yeah.
Well, it's taken you all over the world, right?
It has, yeah. Just Asia, South America, North America, some of Europe.
Yeah.
New Zealand.
Yeah. And that's why we teamed up with Zor with our youth scholarship program. It's because, talking to Janet last time I was out there, if you ever get the chance to go check out Zor Outdoor, is just a beautiful little resort and just awesome, fun stuff to do around the whole area.
Yeah, they're big supporters of the kayaking world.
Yeah.
Too. They got one of the only shops. They got a great shop with experienced people in it.
Yeah.
And they are super focused on community.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of like the perfect. She told me about how, because we're mutual friends, obviously. So she was saying how she knew you when you were like this big, and didn't know how to kayak, and so it just made sense to like partner up with them. So would you say that was like the single, most influential moment in your life as far as like the trajectory it set you on?
Maybe so.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was. I got sort of inducted into the mafia of kayaking there, and then,
Heck, mafia. I like that.
Well, it's different from other sports. Like in high school, you play soccer, or baseball, or basketball, or football, whatever it is. But you're really playing with a bunch of people who are your age, and you're stepping on the same square field every time, and it's really different when you come from those sports and get put into kayaking, where when you go kayaking with the kayak community, you've got people who are like from age 13 to age 70.
Yeah.
And so you've got this super wide range of age.
Yeah.
And you get to connect sort of intergenerationally. And the other thing is the playing field is different every time. Whether it's the same river, there's a bunch of different moves you can make. Or if you go to a new river, the whole thing changes.
Yeah, super dynamic environment at all times.
Yeah, so just caught my imagination. And through that community, I just, bumped into so many amazing mentors. Another guy I should mention is Aaron Mead.
Okay.
He took me under his wing, and he's a best friend of mine, but he put a lot of effort into teaching me to kayak. Fergus Coffey, Mike Porter, all those guys were connected through Zor.
And then that brought you to the Ottawa, which is where we met. Paddling corner wave and just hanging out in the evenings.
Yeah.
What got you to the Ottawa? How did you end up getting to that little? Because not to toot the Ottawa River horn, but it is like kind of the mecca for kayaking.
Amazing.
Like anytime you go there, the biggest names are there. The who's who of paddling is there, and it just breeds this elite class of paddlers. So
that's for sure.
Yeah.
I had it sort of the seed planted in my mind when I was younger that people kept telling me, it was like, once you get old enough, you're going to want to bounce out of this 1,000-person town. And, and you're probably going to want to go to the Ottawa, because that's where the big waves are, and that's sort of where everything's happening. So I had been making trips up, and I was always really jealous watching the Keeners. I was young and couldn't really afford to go to Keeners, but I knew how awesome that program was. And I ended up attending New River Academy, which was high school for kayakers, much like a ski school.
Yep.
And David Hughes, who was the owner at the time, I was really competitive. So, whoever, I was with Alex Mon and Jake Greenbaum and a bunch of David Spiegel, a bunch of great kayakers, and they pushed me to become better. And then after a bit there, I went and did my own thing and came back as a coach, and started visiting the Ottawa more, until eventually Joe Kowalski asked if I wanted to come on with the Keener program.
Cool. Like as a student or as like an employee?
No, as an employee. Yeah, as a coach.
Awesome.
Yeah. And man, what an opportunity,
Yeah.
And the Keener program is just world class.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's the stuff they have these kids doing, and just what they teach them as far as on-river skills, that's one thing, but like the off-river skills, taking accountability for yourself, cleaning up after yourself, and working hard. The one that I always like is the speech classes that I guess they do. The public speaking. It's super important.
Genius. Yeah. They got a great team.
Yeah. And so it just breeds, like, it just kind of, kayaking is a really great thing I find to grow as an individual. It teaches you, we were talking about this last night, like leadership skills, how to respond in high stress environments, but then tack on all that, like public speaking and accountability and all those life lessons. You can't teach that in any sort of institution other than Keeners or a river institution.
Yeah, and they have a lot going for them. I mean, they have the best coaches in the world. They've got a lot of purpose and direction from Joe Kowalski and Joel and all the guys there.
Yeah.
But they're also on the Ottawa River.
Yeah.
Which you can go from zero kayaking experience to a pretty good kayaker who can run class 3 inside of a Keener session.
Yeah.
Where else can you do that,
Yeah.
It's just the best place to learn. So we always send people now to Keeners and those programs, because it's just, if you want to learn to kayak, it's the safest place, great instruction.
Yeah.
You'll advance the most there.
Yeah.
So
you did Keeners for 5 or 6 years?
Yeah, I was in and out. I think it was 3 years.
3 years? Okay.
3 years. Yeah, and then I stopped doing the coaching altogether.
Okay.
And went full in on the media.
Yeah.
And that was great. I did a bunch of TV shows and expeditions.
So before we jump that far ahead, I mean, you started going to Chile in...
I was 18 when I first went. I was 17.
18. Okay.
Yeah.
What brought you there? How'd that transpire? Yeah. So was that through David Hughes with...
that was through David Hughes, Newber Academy. Yeah. Now David runs the Pucón Kayak Retreat, which was previously the Pucón Kayak Hostel.
Okay.
And I can tell you what we're doing around that in a bit. But he he gave me some great opportunities. I learned a lot. And gave me the confidence to just bounce out and attack my purpose and my goals. Yeah. Which was... It's a big deal for someone who's young and searching for what they want to do. Yeah. But I started the media company and did most of my initial work in Chile. Mm-hmm. And there's a good market, and we sort of got in ahead of most of the production companies, especially in the outdoor realm. So we were doing shows that were just sort of exploring the wild places of Patagonia, mm-hmm. or wild deserts or the Amazon, and got to just get paid to go explore, take photos and video. Yeah, so
it's a dream job.
Dream job.
It's a dream job. Yeah.
Especially that age. It's like you want to go see the world. Yeah. That's a damn fine way to do it.
So what attracted you to media? Because I remember when we were hanging out on the Ottawa, you either were in a boat kayaking, or you always had a camera and you're like climbing a tree trying to get a time lapse or something like that. So what attracted you? How did you get into the whole media side of things?
It's a good question. Since I was a little kid, my mom has had this film camera. It's a pretty nice film camera. Mm-hmm. And I was allowed to play with it and sort of figure out how it worked, understand it. And so I already had sort of this obsession with cameras. And then once the digital stuff was available, it was like, oh man, I could really do something with this. Yeah. And as I went, I mean, so many great mentors along the way, and just learning the different techniques and what was compelling to people, and how to shoot things, how to generate a different angle. And it's just it's been a lifelong obsession since like 14 years old. Okay. Yeah.
So it feeds that artistic aspect of you, and then kayaking feeds kind of the athletic.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it had I love the idea of like capturing a moment mm-hmm. that's compelling for people. It's gotten way easier with the digital stuff, but so it's kind of a weird world because everyone's taking photos with their phones. Yep. and all of that. I kind of like it. I like seeing what other people are doing. It's inspiring. Yeah. But just like going out there, capturing crazy moment, being there in that moment, and being able to push the button. That's what it's about for me.
Yeah, internalize it, or eternalize it, I should say.
It's a good reason to go there. Yeah,
yeah. And how about the storytelling aspect? Is that something that you've always had an interest in, like telling the story of an adventure or a journey?
For sure, yeah. We were talking about this before, but the most compelling part about that to me is being able to inspire people to go spend time outdoors, fall in love with outdoors, and care about the world. You know? So that's like one avenue that you can do it with, whether it's photography or film. Mm-hmm. You can, somebody can watch that and be like, man, I really want to go explore a river. It doesn't have to be class 5, but it's like, any sort of inspiration can be the boot that somebody needs to get out the door and just spend some time in nature. Yeah. So that's sort of the baseline of it. Okay. And that's why guiding fit really well with me as well. And now marketing, as I'm still marketing outdoor mm-hmm. sports, and hopefully the culmination of that is just more people falling in love with outdoors and caring about the planet, Yeah. But in the meantime, I get to have a blast doing it. So it's like
bonus.
Yeah, bonus. Such a plus.
Yeah. So you also do the guiding, aside from the media, you do the guiding thing. Now, mostly whitewater. You said, we caught up a little bit last night, but, whitewater and multi-sport adventures.
Yeah, I can explain it to you. Yeah. So David Hughes is a good friend and many times a business partner of mine. And he started the Pucón Kayak Hostel, which was this really cool place that people could go to Pucón, Chile. Yeah. And, spend minimum dollars for maximum fun in whitewater kayaking. Yeah. And that sort of evolved in the Pucón Kayak Retreat now. Okay. And through that, we're running just seriously some of the most badass trips on the planet. Mm-hmm. And from from class 5, which is, you know, some people want to get guided down some beautiful class 5 that's makes it safe and fun, and you know where everything is, and you're not freaking out about running. Like, it's almost like a first ascent if you just were to go there and try to run some of these gorges, you know?
Yeah. Because I can imagine the beta about the rivers in Chile is pretty spotty. Like, I can't imagine there's a lot of guidebooks that are like, hey, this is what you need to think about.
There's a few, but still, when you're there, it's like trying to solve the puzzle in the moment. Some people don't feel like they have the experience or don't have the confidence to do that. Yeah. So we can do those trips. But the real thing is that people see Chile as this country that's like a class 5 whitewater destination, and they don't realize that it has just endless beautiful class 1, 2, and 3.
Amazing. Yeah.
Like stunning, like volcanic views, crystal blue water. You can camp anywhere you want. It's really world class. It's special, you know? And so we've been running a lot of trips like that where people will come down, we'll do, you know, 9 to 10 class 3 rivers in the area, class 2, 3 rivers, and get their minds blown, you know?
Yeah, that's a really, I like that model. I find especially in the media with surrounding whitewater these days, there's a lot of like class 5, watch me run this huge waterfall. And there's not a lot of media.
It's pretty glamorous.
Yeah, but there's nothing that shows something that's attainable to the everyday boater. You know what I mean? Like,
and some people go on vacation and they don't want to be stressed out the whole time.
Totally, they want to push themselves, but not, you know.
Yeah. They want to have a good guide. They want to have great food, a nice place to sleep, and know that their like little window of time they get a year to go have fun
is maximized.
It's going to be a hit. You know, so we kind of dialed that in, and especially Dave, and there's a great crew there.
That's awesome.
And so we've been running those trips, and we also do multi-sport, which is like horseback riding, glacier hikes, hot springs, fly fishing.
Yeah, you're telling me last night about your helicopter fly-in, fly fishing trips. That's awesome.
Some people, you know, some fly fishermen are really take it really seriously.
Oh yeah, they do. Oh yeah, they do. Like, we're starting to break in with level 6 into the fishing market, and like, I can't think. Not crazy isn't the right word, but passionate.
Yeah. It's an obsession for a lot of people, you know.
Yes.
And I get that because I obsess over my sports too. Yeah. But so we're running those trips, the big hits, and then the other one I'm doing this year is with New England paragliding. We're doing a trip in Iquique, which is like the northernmost tip in the desert, and we're basically we're gonna fly in paragliders these endless 3,000 foot tall dunes. Awesome. That are just looks like you're on another planet, you know?
So you got into paragliding, what, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
How did that transpire? How do you just go from like standing on the ground to I'm gonna strap this giant parachute and run off the side of a mountain?
Definitely, it's a weird
progression. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there was two main things. Okay. It's a good question. The first was the realization that I really need to hone in the ability to explore in elements that weren't only water. I'd spent so much time in kayaking, and I can get down class 5 rivers, I can surf in the ocean, and so wherever I went, I was able to sort of enjoy water. But I realized I need to get snow, I needed dirt, so I started mountain biking, and I can hike.
Yeah,
you know?
That's pretty easy. You got feet.
And then air was another element. And so if I could hone in a sport on all of those, anywhere I went, I could really explore to my heart's content. Yeah. So that was one of the reasons behind it. And then the other was a friend came to visit in Chile. I'd been building bike trails, and I was sort of just deep diving into downhill mountain biking. And he was like, I'd like to see some of your trails, and brought him up on the hill. And he had this little camelback like backpack on, and he kind of looked at my trails and like, oh, those are really nice, and then he's like, I think I'm just gonna fly down. I was like,
what are you smoking?
What do you mean?
Can I have some?
And he just sort of opens his pack and lays out this wing and hooks in, and I'm just watching from afar, you know, and he runs off the mountain into the valley, flies down and lands at the house.
Unreal.
And I sold my bike, I think 2 days later. I sold my bike, bought a wing, and started learning. Yeah, it's one of those things where in Chile there's so many big mountains that you can sort of look at something, and if the wind conditions are right, just hike to your heart's content and beam yourself back to town in the sunset. Yeah.
So what's the progression with that? I often wondered, like, how do you go from you buy the wing?
Yep.
What's the learning curve on that? Or is it just, I guess there's not really one. Like I'm sure you learn the mechanics and how to use the equipment, and then it's throw yourself off the mountain.
Yeah, you want to take lessons. I got like, you know, some initial lessons from a guy in Chile. We got an understanding of it. But really you want to have a great mentor. That's ideal.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I did it particularly the right way. And it's super dangerous if you don't have somebody sort of pointing out the hazards that you don't even know are there.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So if anyone wants to learn, I recommend going to a school, taking lessons, buying a pretty easy wing to fly, all that, you know. Yeah.
What are some of the risks associated? I know nothing about it other than, like, I see your Instagram videos doing it, and I'm
sure.
like, wow,
it's fun. Yeah.
It looks fun.
It's really fun. It's taking off is dangerous because you're close to the ground, and landing is dangerous because you're close to the ground.
Okay.
Most of the rest of it is
when you're up there.
Pretty easy going.
Yeah. Birds, anything like that? Is that a...
No, you're flying with the birds. A lot of times you'll like fly with condors or fly with red-tailed hawks around here.
Super cool.
Yeah, because they're great pilots. They know where the thermals are, so you just aim for them.
Oh, I guess that makes sense, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they're doing the same thing you are. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure. I don't think the glide ratios are too similar between a bird and a paraglider, but they know where the thermals are, and you can follow them to them, and you'll see them sort of get in it and start going up, and you can get right underneath them and follow them. So you're literally flying with the birds. Yeah.
So that's your new obsession right now, is paragliding?
Yeah, I try to split it up. I'm now working for Thunder Mountain Bike Park, Berkshire East, which is the ski area. I'm doing the marketing for them in my hometown of Charlemont. One of the best, if not the best, bike park in the country. And so I get to bike a couple times a week. I fly off the mountain a couple times a week. I kayak to my heart's content.
Yeah.
And I just try to mix it up.
Sweet.
Yeah. I still, kayaking is sort of my deep love.
Of course.
And then all these other things, I get obsessed with them for a few years so I can bring myself up to speed. And it's sort of ability I get to enjoy. Yeah. And I don't focus on being, the best ever.
Yeah. Master of none, jack of all trades.
Yeah. I used to be kind of obsessed with, finding a way to be the best kayaker. And, for me now it's mostly all about fun.
Yeah.
And spending time with my friends. And, I get to come up here to the Ottawa for Joel's wedding and kayak with a bunch of great kayakers. But these are all people that, the community.
Oh, you know them for years. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So it's more about that, just seeing everyone and spending time with friends.
Yeah. How long are you in town for? I didn't even ask you last night.
I leave Sunday. Yeah.
You leave Sunday. Okay. Yeah. So quick trip.
Yeah. Quick trip.
Cool.
Gotta get back.
Now, as far as expeditions, you have done a source to sea expedition of the Amazon. Right?
Yeah.
Can you break that down for us? How did that come about, and what goes into planning that trip? How long was it, and all the details?
It was really easy for me.
Okay.
Basically, I was working for Keeners one summer. Raph Ortiz was like, "Hey, you might think this is cool. I'm gonna go run the Amazon, the source of the Amazon." And basically, through Nat Geo, they had found like a new source of the Amazon, and what that means is just like the farthest point that a drop of water can fall from the sky and make it out
to the ocean.
Holy. So this is the Montaro River, and we went with a team led by Wes Hansen, who is a sick flat water paddler, but we were really there to make sure that the whitewater didn't go astray. And it was a great trip, and then once we got to there's some serious whitewater in there. Yeah. And we got through it. But
what was the whitewater like? Was it mostly like big volume, big water?
Yeah, it's big volume, and most of the rapids are formed by rocks falling off the canyons. Yeah. So it's like really siphoned out. Yeah. And pretty dangerous. Yeah. So therefore stressful, Like river-wide holes all over the place.
Yeah, and with no information too, so.
Yeah.
Was it a first descent for you guys?
We had it on a couple sections. Okay. We had some info from Rocky Contos, who's a total legend. And it was great, but we were at different water levels and still you're running a river, you're still scouting everything, you're still working through it all. Yeah. So we made it down those whitewater sections, and we split up from west, and then I dropped in with a team from TVN, from Chile.
Okay.
And sort of changed programs. We started filming a TV show from there all the way to the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you guys didn't record that upper section.
It was split up in two for me.
Yeah.
Wes kept going on his flatwater boats, and I hopped onto this TV show filming.
Yeah.
And so I didn't kayak out the basin of the Amazon, but in a way for me it was better this form of traveling down the Amazon, because we were stopping and going up into tributaries and meeting native tribes and finding wildlife.
Super cool.
It was wild.
Yeah.
I mean, that place is a bit intimidating still to me.
I can imagine. I've never spent any time. I guess I was in Costa Rica and spent a bit of time in the rainforest there.
Dude,
but
rainforests are scary.
They're super scary.
Yeah.
Everything moves and shit stings and you know, poisonous stuff.
Yeah, things will kill you out there.
Yeah. Especially from like a small town.
Yeah, and it's sort of Wild West-ish feeling in that there's a lot less rules once you're way out there, you know. So if you have an altercation with somebody or a disagreement or a problem with payments or something, anything, you know, Wild West law kind of rules too, you know. It's like, don't call the police, deal with your problem right then and there.
Are you more stressed interacting with people on those types of expeditions, or by the actual like travel down the river?
I'm usually more on edge when I run into people, because I never know what to expect.
Yeah.
You know, it's a place where you can meet somebody who's super happy, who's a farmer on the side of the river. They take you into their house, they feed you, they're just excited to have you there, and you learn a lot, and you get to, you know,
share a moment.
Yeah. Or it could be some narcos with some shotguns and machetes, and they want you to stop because they want to know what you're doing there, what technology you have on you.
Yeah. Crazy.
It just can unravel really fast, you know? So, yeah, those are amazing areas of the world. Maybe won't focus my energy on spending too much more time there. I really liked it, but you know, as I get older, I find that I have more fun just like going to the Feu de la Feu with like Lorenzo Pangal and Aniol or whoever the boys are down there, and you know, just running amazing whitewater in a fun place instead of just like putting myself into these scary situations. All right, so I'd like to regale you with all these stories. I'm super proud of, you know, what I've been doing in Chile and what I've been doing in the States and all that, but what I really want is for you to bring me into the boardroom there and show me some of the new stuff you guys got, because I know you have some really cool new stuff.
Yeah, we can definitely do that, and you know, you're kind of boring anyway, so we'll go into the boardroom. I guess we released everything at Paddle Sports Retailer last week, so it's not a secret anymore. So let's do it. We'll dive into it, and then you can let us know how you feel about the gear, because you've been a long time user.
Definitely.
What were you saying last night? You started when you were 15 using level 6?
That was my first top I got from Tyler and Stig at I told them I was going to China to kayak soon. Yep. And they're like, here's a dry top. Just stay dry.
Yeah. They're good people.
And that was it, man. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, without further ado, let's go into the boardroom and
let's
check out some gear. So we're back in the boardroom.
Here we are.
Back in a quieter setting. Sorry if the audio was rough on that last little bit. We were trying to do something new and do it inside of our van.
Sweet van, by the way.
It is an awesome van. Yeah, I just spent 2 weeks in it. It's the best way to travel. Staying in hotels is overrated. I'd rather stay like pull over somewhere super nice or go to a state park. So I stayed in Ohio Pile State Park near the Yacht.
Sweet, yeah.
Never been there. I had no reason to go other than to see dealers. Yeah. There's not like there's hotels and stuff around there. Yeah. So it was just like the perfect way to go check stuff out.
Our generation seems to be like leaning that direction. You know?
Yeah, van life is definitely.
I kind of want the freedom instead of.
Yeah. The freedom and it's just it gets you off the beaten path.
For sure. Yeah.
Love it. So now we're in here to talk gear. Now, as we mentioned, you've been a long time user of level 6 gear, and we were having a conversation about what drew you to the brand. So what originally drew you to the brand, other than Stig and Tyler all those years ago?
Yeah, I think what originally drew me was I was pretty young and really worried about style at that point in my life. Yeah. And not doing much serious death-defying kayaking or anything like that, but I was worried about style.
Yeah, what's the point of doing anything if you can't look good while you're doing it?
Come on. So that was the original thing I noticed about level 6 gear is that it just had this extra style piece to it that I loved, you know? And then once I started, sort of diving into Class 5 kayaking, expedition kayaking, and stuff like that, and really like cold weather, like the Grand Prix up here, where you had like the icebergs coming down the river, stuff like that. That was just about the time that you guys were coming out with...
Classic phone ringing.
Well, that was just about the time that you guys were coming out with... Doesn't matter.
We're going to cut for a second. Just unplug the phone, Jesse.
Actually, I accidentally just hung up on someone.
That's fine. We'll just call back.
Oops. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead.
So anyway, that was just about the time that... So anyway, that was just about the time that when I started paddling expedition stuff, really cold weather, was when you guys were coming out with your initial dry suits and stuff like that. And so I got to use those for the Grand Prix, and that was like my first real dry suit.
Yeah.
And it was dry. And I was like, fully in love. And then you guys came out with the Emperor. And that was sort of the total game changer for me.
Yeah.
Because that was also the point in my life where I found myself bushwhacking through like Patagonian scrub or, swimming out of my kayak at the base of these big waterfalls.
Yeah.
Which I wish I hadn't been, but...
high demand areas.
It was like I needed something that would legitimately protect me in like the most extreme situations. And, that dry suit has the reinforcement.
Quarter panels.
Yeah, and it's just made my first one lasted me 4 years. It was great. And then I passed it on.
4 years paddling every day, right?
Like actually paddling every day and in silty rivers.
Yeah.
That really wear equipment down.
Yeah.
And it was, that design was just the go-to, not only for me, but sort of for the whole crew in Chile. Because it was the one that when you spend your money, it would hold up.
Yeah.
And so that was just the go-to.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was pretty all in on level 6, but it was like...
Just took it to another level.
This is the shit.
On that note, do you have any pro tips for any of the viewers as far as how do you take care of your gear and stuff like that before we jump into the new stuff? Straight from somebody who uses it in the harshest environments. Is there anything that you do to take care of your gear?
I do, yeah. If I'm paddling silty rivers, silt can like sand down your gear almost. So if I'm paddling a silty river, when I get out, I'll wash it down with a hose or just some clear water to wash the silt off, and then dry it out. I try and dry it in between every use.
Good.
And then when I store my gear, like a lot of times I will store a dry suit in Chile and come back to it next season or whatever. So I make sure that I store all my dry tops or dry gear in dry bags.
Okay.
So it's like a sealed compartment.
Yeah.
I press all the air out.
Yeah.
And that seems to work really well.
Okay.
And in general, I'm like, it's fabric. People sometimes forget that it's tough. It's really tough fabric, but it's fabric. So, like, you need to wear booties with those little like fabric booties. You need to wear shoes with those. Yeah. To protect my to protect the fabric booty on a dry suit, I'll wear a neoprene sock over it, and then my shoe. Yeah. Things like that. Yeah. So and then I take care of the health of the zipper a lot.
Okay.
I'm always checking in on the zipper.
You lubricate it. Yeah.
Just because it's a piece of technology, that stuff can break, but if you take care of it, it really won't.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, the thing that you mentioned is the silty river. What happens with that garment is because it's a Teflon membrane, so it's got tiny little holes that allow vapor to come out, but the holes aren't big enough for water molecules to pass through it. Right. That's how you get that waterproof breathable technology. Silt actually gets in there, and that's how you can end up with a leaky dry suit, or if you're using it in the ocean, the salt will crystallize and then just essentially tear these pores open, and that's how you end up with leaks. And it may not look like there's a hole in your dry suit, but it's going to leak because the membrane has been compromised at that point. So rinsing is huge. That's a good piece of advice. Yeah. Or if you're using it in like a pool for rolling sessions or whatever, which you probably shouldn't be because of chlorine and stuff like that. Yeah. That's definitely huge.
Rinse your gear.
Rinse the gear. Rinse the gear. The neoprene socks is another big one. Yeah. If you're going to buy a dry suit, this is the number one thing that I always do. And people accuse me of upselling, but it's like, dude, just spend the extra $30.
Yeah.
Get the neoprene socks and wear them religiously with your dry suit.
Yeah, it's more comfortable. It's warmer.
Yeah, you're never gonna have
makes sense.
a leaky foot in your dry suit.
Yeah.
And there's nothing worse than that. So
yeah, no, it's a big deal. But those suits, man, they're amazing.
Yeah.
I've been super impressed with them. I see you've got
yeah,
some new stuff here.
we do. Yeah. So one of the items is a facelift, and then two of the dry suits behind me are brand new for this year. So
Sweet.
little background
I like
behind
the blue.
it. Yeah, the blue's great. Yeah. A little darker. I'm actually more of a fan of the red that's tucked in behind the camera.
You've always been on red.
I like the red.
Yeah.
I look good in red. So.
Yeah.
We're wearing red right
It
now.
is what it is.
Yeah, so for years, the Emperor, I mean, is our best-selling dry suit.
Mm-hmm.
One, because it's tough. But we were always getting a request, or what spooked some people off was that it was a rear entry. And, you know, I have bad shoulders now. I can't get into the Emperor by myself.
Yep.
So front entry is just kind of the only way to get into a dry suit for me.
Sure.
And a lot of people were requesting it, so we came out with the front entry double tunnel, you know, whitewater kayaking suit.
Sweet.
It's certainly not limited to whitewater kayaking. So in the middle there we have the Freya. So the Freya is our first women's specific dry suit. So it's constructed from our exhaust 3.0, which is the same stuff the Emperor uses. Where we are able to kind of save some costs are by not incorporating the core Gura panels. But we do reinforce the knees and the high wear areas like the elbows and wrists and stuff where you're going to be running into rocks and stuff like that. So the Freya, what it incorporates, again, front entry with a YKK AquaSeals 10 plastic zipper. So you're never going to run into rusting. You're never going to have to really worry about lubricating it. Just clean it and you're good to go.
Yeah.
From there, we added a belt feature. That was kind of number one piece
Hold
of
the pants
feedback.
up.
Yeah, keeps everything in place.
Sweet.
And from there, we also incorporated our new waistband system. I'll try and talk to the camera. So we have a new waistband system. So originally we used the DCS Waistband System, which stands for Dual Cinch Waistband System. I'll pull one out here for you so you can see what I'm talking about.
That's a much improved version. That's great.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was always a fan of this DCS, the original DCS
Me too.
waistband system,
Yeah.
mostly because it's redundant. Now, when you pull these straps, what happens is you're creating a redundant system that will never come undone. So once you get this Velcro onto the Velcro pad, even if the Velcro blows off, you're still going to have tension around your double tunnel.
It won't loosen.
It won't loosen at all. So we didn't want to lose that, but the biggest piece of feedback we got is that it doesn't look like a traditional dry suit or dry top. The DCS waistband system. So what we tried to do with our new waistband system, which I think we're going to call the stealth waistband system, was not lose the tensioning system, but try and clean the overall aesthetic. So this is what we came up with. So again, instead of 4 dangly bits, you just got your 2 Velcro tabs, and then tucked in behind here are the buckles. So you still do get that redundant system that never fails,
Smart.
even if this neoprene or this Velcro blows off.
Yeah.
So I think we nailed it. Yeah.
I can't wait to try one.
Yeah.
They look good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other cool part about this Freya dry suit is the relief zipper for women. So traditional drop seats make a U,
Right.
and they incorporate a big metal zipper. We didn't really want to go down that route. We wanted to make it super low profile and not very invasive, because the biggest piece of feedback we get was sitting on a zipper all day on the back of a raft is really uncomfortable.
Of course.
So we decided to go with a diagonal system. So again, it uses the same AquaSeals 10 YKK zipper, but it is very flexible. Like you can fold this thing up.
Yeah.
It's, you know, even if you do end up sitting on it, it's not going to be very invasive.
Yeah.
And yeah, it actually just runs kind of across your thigh, underneath your butt, and then up one cheek and around the hip. So again, just a really easy to use system that we think is better than traditional drop seats.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then
This is the men's version.
This is the men's version. So that's the Odin. We're gonna get Tino looking
That's my
good in
color.
blue. As soon as we get them, I think they're landing in January. So check the website often.
That is sweet.
Sweet Christmas gift for all of you guys out there. Yeah, so again, just what you saw with the Freya, but a men's version. So the relief zippers on the front.
Winter is coming.
Winter is
and
coming.
if you're going south to Chile, you might as well get a dry suit too.
Yeah, they're super badass suits.
Yeah.
And then the other thing we did was we gave our expedition sea kayaking and touring dry suit a bit of a facelift. So that's the Fjord. You know, it's got a fixed hood on it. So if weather gets super nasty, which it can in Patagonia, you've been doing a bit of sea kayaking.
I actually used just the top before for sea kayaking in Patagonia.
The Kenora.
I was pretty happy about it.
Yeah, so you got like the fixed hood on there, you know, and that goes right up around your face. So if it does get windy or, you know, rain or snow or sleet comes through, you can cinch it down and keep yourself nice and protected. Yeah. And then the zipper, the entry, or actually
gas gets on the hands, so when you're paddling, you don't have water running down your sleeves and stuff like that.
It is a full dry suit, so you do have the latex neck gasket as well, so you can go for a swim. Now, we tried to hide our zipper a little bit. So we used to have the clamshell.
Here, I'll hold it for you.
Yeah, so we used to have the clamshell entry, and it was on the outside. Now, the reason we put it at the back was because you actually have the full range of motion where you can reach underneath your arm and zip it up yourself. But it kind of looked awkward with the zipper on the outside, so what we decided to do was tuck it into the tunnel. So it's hidden, out of your way. It looks really clean as far as the dry suit goes, and easy to get on. The other thing is we have our articulated stitching here, so that actually works like an accordion. So if you flex forward, it adds some extra material there, so you can move around. Cool. Range of motion is huge. You know, when I started working at level 6, that was my biggest thing. Was I need to have full range of motion with our gear. So when
I gotta point this out to the camera. These are the details that level 6 does. This topographic print on the inside. No one's gonna see this. It's just because they love style.
Yeah, and that's actually a screen print to protect the Teflon membrane. Underneath that is a Teflon membrane. So we put the screen print on there, and that protects it from any sort of abrasion from the inside of the suit. So yeah, so that's the Fjord.
It's a nice piece of equipment.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. I love that green too. The new colors this year are awesome. The designers really nailed it.
Yeah.
And then we'll keep it moving along.
Show me those throw ropes.
Yeah, so we've got some new throw ropes. You use these a lot?
I do, I swear by it. I love the small ones for creeking on like creeks that are, you know, less than 100 CFS. Mm-hmm. You can do pretty much everything with this. Yeah. And it's small, fast. What
is your ideal like setup when you're, as far as safety equipment that you're bringing with you?
Bring like a pretty small pin kit with a couple beaners and a pulley, some prussics, a knife, and
you keep all that in your PFD?
Yeah, I keep it in my PFD.
Yeah, keep it on the person.
Yeah, I keep it in my PFD. And then I have either the previous version of this, or a bigger one in between my legs. Yeah. So this is new for this year. This is the compact quick throw. So our industrial designer Nicholas, he's really great at what he does. Yeah. And so it's funny, you know, you don't think about a throw rope as something that's very complicated. It's just put rope in a bag, done. You know, he took 8 months to do this, which I was like, at one point I was like 8 months to like put, again, you're just putting rope in a bag, but Nick did like an unreal job. He put every attention to detail was everything with him, you know, testing little systems out. So we went through a bunch of salesman samples. The big thing that we decided to do is, for me personally, for being a former raft guide, was packing my bag was always a pain in the butt. Yeah. And I wanted to make that a quick and painless situation. So we added the zipper, so it opens up the mouth. Yeah. It makes it way easier to pack. Right? Yeah, it makes it way easier to get your hands in there and stuff the bag. And then mesh drains on that. Both sides.
Yeah, and then you've got an incorporated whistle on that throw bag, so if you do forget your whistle, there you go. It's not the loudest whistle, but hey, it's better than no whistle.
For sure.
And yeah, so it has a little dynamic rope in there, so a bit of stretch.
That's great.
But yeah, so that's a compact, quick throw.
Yeah. And
then from there, this is the new rescue bag, the Quick Throw Pro is what we called it. This is, again, just a bigger version of what you just saw. The rope is what's really different about this. So the rope,
I think I saw something about this.
Yeah, it's a static rope, but the sheathing is glow in the dark. Let's give it a try here. I don't know if it's been activated in the sun. No.
Not yet.
Not yet. Yeah. So you do need to activate it in light. That's with all glow in the dark stuff. So
that's a cool idea.
Yeah, but we're work with a lot of rescue institutions, and they do rescues at night. And one person was like, "Hey, have you ever thought about glow in the dark rope?"
Yeah.
It's expensive, but hey, it's pretty sweet. So you've got your static line in there. I think there's only like an 11% stretch to it. Again, opens right up.
Yeah.
Big mesh drain bags on there.
Yeah. Being able to open this wide makes it so much easier.
Yeah,
to
I think
pack,
we did a little internal competition in the office, and I won with a 36 seconds.
Pack it?
Packed. Yeah, yeah. 65 feet of rope.
That's fast.
Yeah, super fast.
That's almost fast enough to do a rethrow if you're following the person walking.
Yeah.
Down the bank.
Yeah, totally. Instead of coiling the rope, and yeah. So yeah, that's what's
Sweet.
new for this year. So we'll set you up with all that gear, and you'll see Tino out on the river, or in the sky, or on a bike, ripping jumps, or whatever else it is that you do. Every time I look at you on Instagram, I'm like, oh my god, what are you up to now?
If you see me in your area, send me a message, because I love connecting with locals and paddling the local goods and getting local knowledge. And thanks for having me here. This is super impressive.
Man. I'm glad you. It's a good excuse to have people back in town for a wedding, and it's sweet to catch up. It's been too long. And,
for sure.
Thank you for, being a longtime supporter of Level 6. If you ever need advice or an unbiased opinion about gear, Tino's the guy to give it to you. He'll give you all the nitty-gritty details about what how he uses our gear, which is it's a wealth of knowledge. So
cool.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming in. Appreciate it. It's good to see you.
Thanks for everything.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
See ya.
Love you. Bye.